WEMFradio.com.
Sweet.
Hey, I'm Pat B.
And I'm Adam Willis.
And you're listening to the Geek Down here on WEMF Radio. Damn right, folks. You know, when that intro comes in, man, I feel like I'm here representing like a legacy of jive, Let me tell you know what? Pause. Let me back myself up for a second about to get that vitriol because I'm amped about the show. We got so much stuff. We got good stuff. We got mediocre stuff. We got bad stuff. We got sad stuff. We got stuff all around. And top it all off, a sprinkling of Arisia. That's serious.
Just a sprinkling?
Just a dab.
Yeah,
just a dab?
Touch. Just a taste. Just a taste for him. Yeah. Don't want to give him too much. The first taste is free, you know.
Nah.
All right, but now that voice.
The devil gives the first one for free, my friend.
That right there, preaching.
From what I hear.
Preaching, my brother. Is the voice, the mouth from the south. Black Adam Willis.
It's the first time you lied to the audience. It's the voice from the north, my friend. But anyways, how you doing, Pat?
I'm not bad.
What's going on, man?
I'm okay. Just, looking at our news and I'm like, dude, why does the trend continue? Well, yeah, no, we'll get into that in a minute. I don't want to bring people down.
Man, you got to stop asking that question, man. We got to stop asking the question months ago.
Man. I mean,
that's how it is, though.
I'm a line step. I want to make sure people are uncomfortable left
yep.
and right. Like Johnny Josie moves.
I think they've been uncomfortable for a while, but yeah.
All right, well, we're not alone getting those chuckles in the background. Look right next to you and see my homeboy, Dirty D.
What's up, fellas? Back once again.
Yeah, welcome back, my man. This dude's like, making full appearances after his long
Finally.
So welcome.
Yeah, life was like, hey, you can relax now. I was like, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to see my friends now.
Well, glad you can finally make some time for it, brother. Much
appreciated.
Right.
Much appreciated. Thanks for having me back.
Mm-hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. And right next to you is the amazing and talented, always badass and well-informed Jessica Scary.
Aww.
Actually,
badass? I think that's the coolest thing I've been called.
You sure?
I'm touched.
Really?
I've been called.
You've been called things,
cool
but like the
insults.
badasses have been working. All right.
Insults.
I got you.
Okay,
I got you.
We'll keep it G-rated apparently.
Yeah. Well, welcome back to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
Of course.
You're welcome. We're tapping on baggage here of all kinds on the Geek Down.
I'm gonna unpack.
This is your first time on the Geek Down. You are regular to EMF audiences, but this is your first time here partying with us.
We had like a timeshare.
Mm-hmm.
I got to watch you guys from the other room.
Yeah, I got was Alice Cooper's fake body right here next to me too. You know what I mean? So
apparently everyone comes up from Geek Down, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it back around.
Alice is here.
Yeah, that's right.
Alice is here on hiatus from his concert in Aurora, Illinois.
Milwaukee.
Which, of course, for our uninformed listeners means...
This is Algonquin for the good land.
The good land. We old, son. We old.
Milwaukee.
All right. That man right there, very diligent in his work and his ways.
Yeah.
I'm going to hand over the little mini tripod to see if that'll help. But I'm talking, of course, about just Johnny.
Yep.
That guy. And in the booth, that handsome devil keeping us sounding crisp, amazing, and delicious every week, DJ Herbie Herb.
Greetings and salutations.
I have no idea what that was.
Salutations.
Good to meet you, babe. Now, we have an awesome action-packed show for you, but first we got to get the hard stuff out of the way because, unfortunately, man, we're going to start off with some bad news. We talked extensively last year about the trial of Superfly wrestling
Jimmy Snuka, yeah.
Superfly Jimmy Snuka, yeah.
We talked about it a while. I know you broke it down for us and everything like that.
Yeah, the whole thing is Hall of Fame wrestler Superfly Jimmy Snuka, idol of mine and Adam's.
Yes.
Bane of Derek's existence because he couldn't quite get that one move down correctly.
He couldn't quite spread it out the way he wanted to. You're right. Yeah. But just champion of the top rope, basically.
Wrestling,
basically.
That I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You're not wrong.
The story is though that. A 32-year-old cold case was reopened involving the death of his ex-girlfriend back in 1983, 84.
Yeah, something like that.
Back in the early to mid 80s, and this was a long time thought to be a accidental death situation where Snuka was just in the house. He was just there.
Yeah. And then it became he was maybe involved in this whole thing.
Right? Her family pushed for them to reopen the case with new forensic technology available to us, and they ran like the CSI, semen kid under the lampshade or whatever they do, and they found that evidence pointed to him actually being responsible for her death.
Yeah, so this was an ongoing investigation for a while.
Yeah, this was raw. Dude.
And then just a few weeks ago, it was a closed case. Mm-hmm. They were done, and then he passed away just days after, right?
Well, that ties
and that's
into
how
the
it was.
death.
It wasn't. Did they close it out and then he passed away, or
well, they
was
closed
it
it out because they deemed him mentally unfit to
Right,
remain in
okay.
prison. So he's been in prison since back then to now. Well, about 12 days.
Yeah.
And he's actually been hospitalized right after that. So
for dementia. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, people don't know that he was.
That's gotta be nuts, being in prison with dementia.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, I don't know, man.
I mean,
we don't know. We don't know how that was. He could have been. He could have been in Disneyland every day. Doing salvia, just like me. It's like me.
But
and
the thing is, like, I remember hearing it, I was like, God, damn, that's crazy. You know what I mean? That's a serious case. You know what I mean? And that's a serious story. You know what I mean? And like he was proved incompetent to be in court and all that stuff, and incompetent
how messed up is that though? That's the reason they released you from prison, because you're not mentally.
I'm pretty sure that
you're not mentally
reopening
prepared.
The cold case didn't help the situation at all. You know?
But I gotta wonder about his mental health back then. We're talking about just a year ago.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and they put him in jail, and then a year later.
Well,
like,
immediately
you
think of like other cases. You know what I mean? Like I obviously the first thing I thought about was like Chris Benoit and everything like that, and his case and the murdering of his family and things like that. And you thought of like his finishing move was like off the top rope, just slamming his head into the thing.
Yeah.
And then you think about it, you're like the cause of like brain injuries and concussions and things like that. So it's serious stuff, and serious things have happened. You know what I mean?
What a thing to be an occupational hazard, but head trauma.
Head trauma, yeah. So like Jimmy Fly, Superfly, Jimmy Snuka was
and the Captain Slayer, man.
Right.
You gotta sign those insurance.
This stuff happens, man. It's crazy though.
They could make him wear helmets. Like Dale Earnhardt Jr. could have been a pioneer, not just for NASCAR, but for wrestling as well. And I'm gonna buy tickets.
If only he didn't. Yeah.
They step into the ring and then strap in their bicycle helmets. Like, that's not how. No, that's a little different.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Shaped like the hat.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Ironically enough, as a dude who used to ride the Harley down the ramp into the ring, you think of anyone who'd be an advocate for like head trauma and like dome safety,
right?
Like they wouldn't. No, never mind, because his character was the dead man. So maybe that was in life I should have worn my helmet.
But anyways, like everything's kind of catching up, and you're like, what you did for the last 30 years is probably not the best thing for you.
Yeah.
By the way, you know what I mean?
You have to dedicate your life to this, man.
To bring a good point to it, I mean, it's like a very small, light point to it. It's like the average wrestlers, if you notice, have died at like 40, 50, I guess because of occupational hazard.
Right.
But he was lucky enough to make it to 73. Some of these guys don't even make it to 45, bro.
Yeah, made it with only stomach cancer and, Alzheimer's.
I'm trying to give a good outlook,
No, I feel you, man. I do understand that he did make it much longer than a lot of professional athletes.
Plus his daughter's wrestling too, so
and his daughter's carrying on the legacy. So God willing, she'll actually be able to maintain, have a illustrious career, and stay in a relatively good health.
Right.
The story we're talking about, if you haven't caught on, if you're not a fan or anything, one of the original wrestling superstars, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, one of the old school cats, really paved the way for high flying tactical wrestlers and for minority wrestlers. This wasn't all like Killer Kowalski, Gorilla Monsoon, and Bobby Brain Heenan. They're not bad guys, but they're like the poster boys for Aryan sports. And Superfly Jimmy Snuka was one of the first ethnic dudes to really make it big. He was Polynesian.
Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so the story actually is he was in prison. They let him out of prison, and 12 days later he passed of complications from dementia, from his illness. So he left behind a legacy on the Facebook, on the Twitter feed.
Well, Rowdy Piper too. You know what I mean? Like that, he was involved for a long time. You know what I mean? He didn't think he was going to make it past the 60 as well.
Yeah,
and he said it as much as well. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not going to make it this long, you know what I mean? I've suffered enough injuries, you know what I mean? So it's like these old wrestlers and these old people, it's like they've been battling for this long. That's just, that's the reality they come to face at this point in life, So, you know what I mean?
Did any of you get a chance to see Superfly wrestle?
Yeah,
yes,
man, come on.
Absolutely.
Okay, dude.
Off the top rope, man, like that. Like I'm saying, like
right?
I said, off the top rope, there's no one dangerous. You know what I mean? Like that, and just that spread eagle swan dive he did off the top rope is something we still talk about, and it's crazy, but it's
A lot of cats credit that move to both Rob Van Dam and Flying Brian.
Yeah,
wrestlers from the '90s era. They don't really acknowledge that this came from like the 80s. This is old stuff.
This is this
Superfly
dude,
was
yeah, right.
doing
And he
this
used to
back when
wrestle
those characters-
barefoot too. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that was a gimmick I could never really get behind. I'm like, yo,
it was
what
awesome.
if I'm in the ring with this
He
dude?
kind of
John-
sold the Polynesian.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
But
But
so did Yokozuna, you know, that's not always a pretty thing. This dude's walking all day on them bare feet.
Yeah,
too.
I
He
like how
comes
they
in-
sold the Samoan as the Asian,
Yep.
Japanese.
Yeah, gonna catch you in the side of the face with that bare foot. Like,
no, he
"Whoosh!"
definitely he was definitely like the daredevil of his time. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it was you know it was that time you were just trying to get an audience,
Mhm.
and then you know literally you thought about like the consequences of what you're doing. But
Well, I do
you know what I
appreciate
mean?
that
Now
the family. Oh,
you
sorry.
know. I'm just saying, like we're thinking about it, you know what I mean, and it was like a little bit too late, perhaps, about
Well, at the very
you know
least,
what happened.
I look at it as we can look at it as this is a man who had a storied career and then post career had kind of a tumultuous life, but he left behind a good legacy. In his
Right.
time, he was a pioneer for minority wrestlers. A lot of people were able to break through.
Yeah,
The most popular wrestler in the world now is a man who is of Polynesian descent. You know what I'm saying? He's not Hulk Hogan. He's not Macho Man. These were awesome dudes. He's not The Undertaker. You know, he didn't have like this wild gimmick. He was.
Yeah.
I'm talking of course about Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah.
right.
Who who was the official, the one who officially released the statement of Snuka's death. The family
Yeah.
asked him specifically to do it,
Yeah.
and he was a fan, he was a friend, and he was
Right, I think he's
one
kind
of the ones
of
that
become the
benefited from-
face of like you know wrestling, anyways, and like releasing this sort of information. But
better him than the Boogeyman,
yeah,
or Goldust. Or,
perhaps, yeah, you know what I mean. He was big.
I
Yeah,
do
sure.
like when Macho Man was the epitome of professional wrestling, because that's the image. You
Did
can't
he
really
sleep
get
with
by.
Stephanie though?
Damn,
is that
son.
is that
It's
is
like
that
a
what
whole
happened?
nother
You know
show.
what I mean?
I'm
There's
gonna
a-
assume
it
the
is, right?
generational gap prevented that.
Right.
I'm gonna
Right,
hope
right.
the generational gap prevented that. That's like okay, great grandpa. Stick it
You're
in,
hoping
like,
that, yeah, no one brings that up here when
all
we're
right,
talking
we
about.
officially made this the most respectful obituary we've given on the show.
Right.
All
But
right, so-
yeah, who knows? You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. He was big, but he had a checkered past as well. So who knows what happens? You
And
know?
people have demons, but hopefully, you know, you can put them all to rest now.
All right.
Superstar Superfly Jimmy Snuka, wrestling superstar. Rest in peace, sir.
And if you didn't try to do this over your bunk bed, then you were doing it wrong when you were a kid. You know what I
Seriously.
mean? Like everyone tried to be Jimmy Superfly Snuka. You know
I
what
got
I
a
mean? Like,
confession.
everyone tried to swan dive off the upper bunk. You know what I
A bunch
mean?
of friends who set
So
up
respect to
mattresses
him,
and,
absolutely. I was a big fan. I was a kid, absolutely.
All right, next news story. I'm not the Chris Brown one. Next news story: Pakistani singer Atif Aslam stops his concert to save a girl from molestation. Now, I like this one.
Mhm.
This one isn't really like
Good for him.
geek and direct entertainment news, but this was some stuff that happened. I thought we should call attention to. Now, midway into his performance, Aslam saw a girl in the audience being sexually harassed by a gang of dudes. He spotlighted the group, stopped the show, walked over to them, and over the microphone. So he just put the shine on.
Yeah.
Over the microphone, asked them, "Have you ever seen this girl before?
Mhm.
Your mother could be here. Your sister could be right here."
Yeah.
He called them out and just basically shamed
Just
these
flat out
dudes.
called him out like this is what's going on, right?
I love how
No.
he did that, and I love the immediately going, what if your mom was watching this? Would you be behaving this way if your mother could see this?
Yeah. How would you respond if this was the case? Yeah, exactly. You're right.
I feel like I'd shrink. I'd be
You
like,
think he would lose? All right, so not even just a random question, but do you think he would lose a fan base as a result of his actions?
Yes,
for that?
I think he
Just for
would. Yeah.
just for where he's at in the region, et cetera, and just the economy.
No, because I've yet to find a country that openly that sanctions direct public molestation. Even if it's one of those, the
Yeah.
man is always right and the woman is always one of those type areas. It's not like apropos. It's not culturally accepted to just like walk up and harass people.
Right.
If you're in like a bad neighborhood and there's gangs and stuff behind closed doors and alleyways and stuff, that's why that stuff happens behind closed doors and in alleyways, because you're on an open street. That's still not accepted, even as messed up as it is and messed up as some places are.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that this dude took that initiative to be like, he didn't just like take security and stuff like that. He stopped the show. He's like, I'm not just going to handle the situation. I'm going to publicly address the situation. Make sure these dudes' faces are seen.
Yeah, it was pretty badass.
Yeah.
Talk
Walk up
about
to
your
him.
teachable moment.
By the
Yeah,
way, this
exactly.
guy's a perv.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping he'd walk up. So, feel like a big man?
Yeah.
And like, go ahead, hit me back. And security's like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not even trying to find out. All I can see is like a Bollywood movie scene right there, just like multiple 50 kicks to the face. Oh, it's over.
Yeah, exactly.
Then what would have happened is he'd have extended his foot off the stage, kicked like each one of the dudes in the face, but never stopped playing the piano. Never stopped playing. Just
and I swear to God, there's a scene like that somewhere in a Bollywood movie.
Oh, I swear to God,
guarantee it.
Those movies are intense, yeah.
He's just like, he sees something over there, it's like, it goes like, narrows on the eyes, and then he's like, whips his pompadour or something over there.
And then Mike's just like,
just whip the ponytail, like, bow! Like,
good for him, though, man. That's awesome to speak out and step up like that.
How it wrapped up is once everyone was focused on the harassers, he called security to throw them out, so they were publicly tossed out.
And shamed.
He then brought the girl on stage so she could safely watch the rest of the show, and then just continued like nothing happened.
And who's the guy again?
This is Atif Aslam. He's a Pakistani singer.
Okay.
You don't get a lot of those.
You know his stuff? You know his stuff, man?
I can't say I get too much of the Pakistani radio stations.
Yeah.
On my particular feed.
Saying, like, I heard him before.
Well,
like,
my Spotify isn't that very. I like to think I'm that diverse.
It's not your fault, brother.
Well, I'm just saying. Well, hey, man, when I can go nerdcore Polynesian polka, I think I've done my due diligence.
When you think so, yeah, I hear you.
I don't know. As a concert going chick, I really appreciate that. Like, there's so many people who have been in that situation who like they don't have anybody to turn to, so they just leave. They're like, these people are making me uncomfortable. It's time for me to go home because it's no longer safe for me to be here. I've had that happen to me at punk shows, where I'm like, all right, it's time to go home. I'm getting stalked through the bar.
That's why I'm a big fan of tasers.
Yeah.
Right? I need a taser.
Yeah, right in the nutsack.
The fact that they couldn't even leave because now all eyes are on them.
Right.
So now they're stuck until security comes. That's
and then
awesome.
how much when about security took them in the back and just wailed on their kidneys for a little bit.
Just a good one.
I gotta hope
I just want to see when he gets home to his dad or something.
Yes.
You have shamed the family.
Yeah, public. All right, okay. We just gotta click on the line. We have
Alice Cooper comes out and just like.
Amy, will you please tell Adam not to molest Alice Cooper?
Oh, hey.
Oh, hey.
Hey,
guys.
Hey, guys.
We have Amy McCobb on the line, correspondent and sick as a dog.
Yeah, I decided to keep my typhoid married to myself, so I'm calling in to be the voice of God to tell you to stop harassing Alice Cooper.
Well, fair enough. He's sitting next to us. He's fine. He's all right.
And we appreciate both of those things.
Yeah, I figured I had a really good time at Arisia, but that I should also kind of keep the internal party to myself.
It sounds like you got the worst con souvenir. The sick.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not like their photo booth pictures were any good, but...
All right, okay, so Amy threw her lovely Amy is very sick, but they've called in to let us know the lowdown information on 2 games, actually.
Yes, really important games.
Okay, what do you got for us? Lay it on.
So the first game I want to talk about was actually surprisingly fun for a genre I don't tend to enjoy. It's called Force of Nature. It's a sandbox game available on Steam. The developer for that is AYSTD. It's seems to be some sort of a group that does different types of sandbox games. It reminds me a lot of Minecraft, if Minecraft looked like The Sims.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that sounds very stilted and Microsoft Paint-ish.
It's
I would actually play it.
It looks better than that. It looks pretty good.
Okay.
I would say one of my only negatives is that there's a fixed camera angle from overhead. But what the game is that it's like action, adventure, RPG, strategy, kind of all together. It has kind of Harvest Moon elements where you want to make like your own little farm. You want to make a life for yourself in this open world. And there's good monsters, bad monsters, good animals, bad animals. One time I built a nice little farm and then goblins showed up in the middle of the night and just wrecked my farm.
Wait, so it's a fantasy game. I was getting like it was more of a farm simulator.
It's a fantasy game / farm simulator because you can go for a while maintaining a farm and, feeding your cows, feeding your pigs, going fishing, going hunting, depending on, you could set up on a beach, you could set up in the forest, you could do all kinds of different places. There's really a lot of stuff that you can do. You want to get resources to, build a crafting table so that you can make weapons, so that you can hunt. Everything is very similar to Minecraft in that way. but
then
it
some
has a
orcs
lot more
come in and
RPG
they'll punch you in the
elements.
head.
And then the orcs come in at night, so it has this interesting element of, I figured out that if I put fire pits all around my little farm area, they wouldn't come at night. Like, it just has this interesting kind of puzzle nature to it almost.
No, it does. Does it give you like a tutorial? Like, did you have
It
to
had
figure
a
out?
brief tutorial.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, I had to definitely do a little bit of digging
Not
online.
bad.
And again, that camera angle gets a little tedious, where there's just this overhead camera angle. You cannot change it. It is a fixed camera.
Yeah.
But the world is really expansive. I set up a little log cabin kind of thing in the woods at one point, and then another time I did it in like a really snowy area. And I was thinking, I'll do like, fur trapping or something. And then an abominable snowman came and kicked over my house.
Well, because you're hunting his kids and using them for pelts to sell at the market. I mean, I'd be pissed too.
Yep.
Look, Pat, just because I am homo superior, does that mean that you guys show up and kick over my house?
Just because, yeah.
Okay, no, here's my question, because you mentioned you laid out like fire pits for defense. Can you, if you get to a certain point in this game, I mean, there's just resource building and such, but can you, once you start being attacked more heavily by these orcs and abdominal snowmen and the like, can you like start going all surviving the game on them and you setting up traps outside your home and you're basically hunting these orcs? Yeah,
as far as I can tell, because I trapped one of them and I was able to use its materials. There was a magma dude. I don't know how to explain it better. Like the opposite of an abominable snowman, a abominable heat guy.
Yeah, the abdominal snowman, as I call him. He's known for having the coldest abs.
Yeah.
So cold.
This is his buddy, the Heat Miser, showed up one day.
Oh,
so,
yeah, that's right, that guy.
Interesting game.
Had that nose.
Now I'm sad. The guy that voiced it, that they based it on, actually passed away recently. But
now, did you interact with other players? Is this like
no? There are no other players. So
it's just your
just
world.
You. It's just your world.
Okay.
And that's something else I found very interesting. So many games these days are very MMORPGs, et cetera, even 2 players. This is just your little world. You're making your own world. It's called Force of Nature. And it's kind of, like I said, weird cross, Harvest Moon, Minecraft, You have your inventory, you're trying to build things, you want to feed your rooster, you better grow grain. But at the same time, like I said, goblins might show up. So it's just, my problem with the game, I think, is it loses its focus. It doesn't quite know what it wants to be.
Does it stay fresh though throughout? Even as far as you get,
Here's the thing:
is it just goblins, or do you
in
an abominable snowman, or is it different variations of the fantasy world?
At some point, you're fighting a unicorn with rings.
The higher level you get, it gets to be really grindy.
Okay, grindy.
Like a lot of grinding, a lot of all right, I gotta kill.
Yeah, you can't go to Jamaican clubs because of that.
Yeah, you gotta grind it.
I love just setting traps and killing things in games. Not gonna lie, it's how I vent some frustration. I do this a lot. I play Lord of the Rings online, and I'll just win turbine or now low turbo points a lot by just killing things.
Yeah.
But the only achievement I unlocked for this game is I killed 1,000 goblins and got a little sticker thing for my Steam which says Goblin Thread. So that's my only accomplishment in this game.
Yeah, that sounds kind of a jip for 1,000.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's kind of the negative of this game. It's you're playing it more for your own personal enjoyment.
All right. Well,
the second game I played though.
Oh, okay. Quick. What would you recommend?
I do recommend this game if you're someone like me that loves the world building aspect, that kind of imbues the game with your own kind of elements, thinking like your backstory, making this game almost like a tool for your own imagination. It's a really interesting game because, like I said, you could do everything from I built a log cabin in the woods and tried to get like a little ecosystem going, or I was doing a little hunting and trapping in the snowy area. There's a lot of stuff to do, but the higher level your character gets, exactly. But the higher your character gets, the more repetitive it is. Once I started wanting to maintain a farm, much like maintaining a real farm, I had to do all of the tasks for it every day cycle.
Ugh. Okay.
And it just gets very repetitive. Like they kind of didn't think it's more exciting to keep setting up new scenarios and continue on.
All right.
The second game I played though, this is a life changer. I hope you guys are ready. So this is the smash hit follow up to the game There's Poop in My Soup by Rudder Games.
There's poop in my soup. Yes.
Super duper party pooper.
I'm gonna excuse myself for this one, yo.
Emoji.
So this game, you're like this cute little dude with a mustache. He has a little purple mustache. And you are in different countries of the world. So you start it in China, and then if you succeed enough, you unlock the next one, which was Paris, etc., then Iceland. And first, dishes from that country appear on the screen, and using the keyboard, you have to stick out your enormous frog-like tongue to eat the dishes off the trays, and you have to do it before the tray snapshot. You know those dinner service trays with the lid?
Totally.
So you want to eat those dumplings, you want to eat those egg rolls, etc. And when you've eaten enough food, then you turn around and stick your butt out, and there are people dancing behind you, and you poop on them.
Oh,
What?
I thought that was going to be a metaphor, but you're literally pooping on the party.
You turn around and you literally shoot out little turds.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Just
Having the poop
they
potty.
smack the turds on the people's faces, and if you get enough points, you unlock the next place. As the game goes on, each
Now
level gets slightly harder.
I'm assuming that the fecal face shot is the one that gets you the most points.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a prestige format game is what you're saying.
Please, what do you take this game for? They've clearly thought through every angle. But something I found that was cute that it doesn't actually get that repetitive because each level introduces a new quirk.
Okay.
For example, on the second level in Paris, little macaroons would appear on screen, and you'd have to tap a button to eat them, but just at the right moment. And then in the third level in Iceland, it introduced bombs. So every now and then, instead of holding a delicious food for you to eat, there'd be a bomb. And if you're in the zone and you're just hitting the buttons to eat the food, you might eat a bomb, and then it ends the game. The game doesn't look great. I mean, it's rudimentary. It's cute. Clearly, this is something that they, pooped out, if you will.
Why?
Look, I'm allowed one pun. Okay, it's not. This is
No, you're allowed infinite puns, please.
You stop right there.
Good.
No, do not listen to this man.
Poons, actually.
Finite fecal fun.
But it's
I'm a little glad you didn't
really
say
fun.
that you
It's
ramp
just
up your
a
ammo
silly
in one level. Under that tray is corn. Another one under that tray is like 5 glasses of milk. Another one that's just to go to town. Another one, there's one that's like the blocks of cheese, and it's the gaseous level. Instead of like,
yes,
I'm
that's
gonna stop.
exactly how it goes.
I'm actually looking at these
really
little
silly.
guys.
It's
They're
just a really
adorable.
fun game.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a really cute little dude with a mustache and a funny hat,
So
and then eventually turns around and then there's just a big old butt pooping on people. I mean,
he
who
looks
doesn't
really
want to poop on
happy
people?
to do it.
Yeah, we got the trailer playing right now on Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
people can watch along with us.
Now, is it the
You can
same
see,
poop
it's-
sound, or is it different poop sounds for different types
It
of
makes
poops?
a little bit of a poop sound. It makes it like. That's my demonstration for all of it there.
This is the most this is the
This
most
is why they say
sophisticated
he's a dick
review
bug.
we've ever done on this show.
I know. Thank you so much for entrusting me with this really good game.
I would trust
Something
no
that
one
really
else.
stuck with me is in their press package. I really appreciate the way they described this game. Have you ever wanted to poop on partygoers but were too socially awkward to just go for it? Well, Super Duper Party Pooper is about to change it all. In this follow-up to the smash hit There's Poop in My Soup by Rudder Games, the player will find themselves in the middle of a raw human story of existential panic.
Oh my God.
And then it just goes on to be like, visit exotic locations and poop on everyone.
Okay, so Amy Macabre with the lowdown on Force of Nature and Super
Force of
Duper
Nature.
Party Pooper.
Fun. Force of Nature, very fun if you like world building and you like repetitive grinding. If you're the kind of person that wants to keep doing something new in a game, you will get bored quickly.
And
Super Duper Party Pooper, you can play that game in like maybe 2 hours, get through the whole game. It's pretty rudimentary. It's just silly. They clearly made it with a tongue in cheek, or at least
Tongue in the
cheeks.
pool, yes.
Don't.
That's salad tossing.
All right, thank you very
You
much,
must
Amy.
take all of the
No
pool.
problem. Thank you. I'm
crapper
not
game,
feeling well,
great.
so I'm going to get right back to pooping on some people.
There you
You
go.
go for it.
There
I'm gonna
you go.
rush to the I'm gonna rush to the store for quick relief from a bottle of candy.
Rush to the toilet.
I'm putting the rabbit head on in 5
All
minutes.
right,
so
thanks a lot, Amy. We're gonna
All
let
right,
you go.
thank
Feel
you so
better,
much,
okay?
guys.
Bye, Amy. Feel better.
Bye.
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 He must take all of the pool.
That was Amy
Help me.
Cobb with a very special review.
Should I put the rabbit heads on though?
No, don't you dare. Don't you
It's right there.
It's a kangaroo,
No,
dude,
you guys
actually.
looking at us.
Yeah, what
You know what I keep thinking of that whole time? Remember that video of the African propaganda minister
Yes.
who was saying it's evil to be gay? What the gay people do?
It's
they eat
evil
the
for the
poo-poo.
big gay.
When you gay, you eat the poo poo.
You eat the poo poo and then yeah.
This is the guy who
Yeah.
says that like you get the diseases.
You get the
because you're
diseases when you
eating-
eat the poo poo.
Yeah. No, we're not justifying this at all.
That motherfucker full of shit.
Why would you
I
do this?
thought that
All right,
was
FCC
fake the
regulations
first time I saw it.
All right. Well, on a different note, I've got a review for a TV show I got to check out.
Yeah, we're gonna switch it up. There you go.
Yeah, this one's actually a different take on the Wizard of Oz story. Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, the Munchkins, all that good stuff. It's called Emerald City. It's running now on NBC. First couple episodes are already out. You can catch them on demand. I DVR the sucker. Oh, excuse me. Basically, I'm really into Elseworlds. I've always dug alternate takes on established stories. You know, can it do interesting stuff? Can it do cool stuff with it? You know, I love games that take on that. I love movies, comics, all that stuff. And I thought I'd really dig this show. Unfortunately, so far it's not the case, man. And my main thing is it is boring.
Really?
Yeah, it starts off.
So sad.
That's how you get it.
I was gonna watch that. It looked so. The trailers look kind of fast paced.
The trailers look dope, yeah, and they do put a lot of budget in their effects and then costumes and all this stuff and the whole thing. It's a beautiful show. The problem is in the story. The writing doesn't take advantage of any of the cool stuff that it presents. It's not really too much of a spoiler to say that they're kind of painting. This is the world with lots of witches, not just the East, the West, and Glinda. So lots of witches exist in this world. The only reason they're not like prominent and running stuff is because the wizard also exists as an actual wizard, and he's outlawed witchcraft. So a lot of the witches that still exist that aren't like the big bold outlaws like East and West, because they have so much power, they can just be like, I'm Al Capone. What, They operate underground, and they're painting Dorothy as a witch because this starts off. Dorothy is an EMT. And she gets sucked up in this freak tornado. She hides in a police car. And she lands on a woman. It's like, oh my God, I've hurt somebody. I got to go check out. From the back seat. What was this? I didn't look in the car when I jumped into it. It's not just a police car. It's a canine unit. That's where they introduced Toto. And I'm like, these are interesting ideas.
Toto's a German Shepherd.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Toto's bad. Toto's an attack dog. Toto's no joke.
Right.
And I'm like, these are awesome ideas. I can't wait to get into the meat of this. And they're painting Dorothy as like another witch because she knows, how to heal. She knows medicine. She knows how to make, concoctions that'll heal and compresses and stuff. So this to them is witchcraft. So she's like this new witch. And it's like, only a witch can kill a witch. That's why you killed so-and-so. I'm like, this is dope stuff. All this was really exciting. And I'm like, cool. This happened in the first 10 minutes of the first episode. I'm like, I'm all in. Let's go. And then you get drug out into the most boring, like, dialogue. And then she's wandering around. It becomes like Dorothy in the first 10 minutes was just, I know my stuff. I'm not just going to die like a sucker out here. Okay, tornado, let me get this car, have a little bit of defense. I might still die, but I tried. Stuff this dog. I tamed him. He was trying to eat my ass. It's like all this good stuff going on. And then we finally get to Oz, and I'm like, now it's about to get real. They have very interesting takes on the characters. The witches aren't just these three random suburban, my pretty, the Wicked Witch of the East, this badass sister, looks like Grace Jones with a bald head. And and she's fierce, and she's got like all these traps, like the people respect and fear her, mostly fear. I'm like, these are interesting takes. Yeah. The Munchkins aren't like these little goofy people in the town. The Munchkins are a tribe of warriors, but they're like stuck in the dark ages where to them, the witches aren't just witches, they're gods. So they're fierce, they're formidable, but they're also deathly afraid of these gods because they have powers they don't understand. I'm like, all this should have been amazing. And then the dialogue is just, 40-minute scenes where it's like, there's a misunderstanding. I'm trying to explain, but I can't explain because you're not listening. But, basically one solid conversation would have solved like half the problems in every episode so far. And I'm like, I hate when stories do that. You usually see it on like romantic comedies and stuff. And
how many episodes in are you?
It's 3. It's 2 episodes live and 3 on demand. Okay. So it's still like early on, but early on at the very least, I shouldn't fall asleep in your second episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this thing
especially
had
when
all
you're
the
trying to set up the world.
Seriously.
That makes me so sad because really, I'm actually a big fan of Wizard of Oz. Mm-hmm. Like Elseworlds, I actually read the original books when I was a kid.
Oh, those are dark, man.
They're really dark, and there's a lot going on. And I like that they kept the wizard as a villain, because in just about every iteration, he's a bad dude.
Blown away in the hot air balloon. I'm here.
Like even in the new one with James Franco, he's a scoundrel. He's a DB.
I'm a scoundrel.
Yeah, he's kind of a dude. That one wasn't bad. You saw it with Mila, she was
Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis.
Was, oh my gosh, I love that. And there was Tin Man a couple of years ago that was all right.
Tin Man was tedious.
I think that was like caught up in the James Franco. Like I'm trying to remake everything that was good.
Yeah, I'm not hating
like,
on him.
They did the Howl thing with like the whole
But like there's so much you can do with that, and like there is a lot of really good dialogue in the original books, and really ahead of the time.
No one told James Franco that there. Like you can like really good art, but you don't have to remake it and destroy it at the same time. You know what I mean? Because you're right. He was like he's a really smart guy that's into a lot of really artistic stuff, but he doesn't have to like remake all of it. I
would have agreed with you wholeheartedly
right?
until I saw what was it? Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
Which was a damn good movie, and won me back.
But he did the Ginsberg movie, did Howl. You know what I mean? He was like,
okay, I'm not saying
really
absorbed
in what he's into, and that's great.
You think that James Franco would be great at pooping on the party?
Yes, he's pooping on everything. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean he doesn't think it's coming from a good place. You know what I mean? Like that, he's really into what he's into. You know what I mean? And he's not wrong for that. But at the same time, he's taking it a bit too far. Where it's just like, leave it alone, James. We've all read it. We all know it's brilliant. You don't have to.
Get people who get to that level of fame and have that amount of money, what they normally become like really known for is they get deeply into drugs and deeply into alcohol and bring it all crashing down. This is a guy who's gone, and not like into Uwe Boll territory.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's almost the same level because, like, you're seeing things like if I'm going into a bookstore and I'm seeing like a Faulkner novel and I'm seeing the James Franco cover of the book, you know what I mean? I'm like, well, not really, you know what I mean? I'm seeing like the Cormac McCarthy book, and I'm seeing like James Franco on the cover of all these things. It's like, yeah, he remade it, but that's not, that's not what he's going for. You know what I mean? So
am I reading?
He's reading the right things, but he's not doing the injustice to the.
It's the difference between reading Kafka's Metamorphosis and then do you make? Oh damn! I had the perfect. Do you make The Fly with Jeff Goldblum, or are you making Eight-Legged Freaks? With David Arquette. So it's like it depends on how they go.
Well,
I'm seeing.
You're right. We could go back and do that through all the way through, but you know what I mean. I mean, I think Franco is definitely at the time like trying to do way too much, and I think he's trying to.
Well, I've seen people do worse. That's why
tackle way too many projects. You know what I mean. And I know he was writing for Vice for a time too.
Well, everyone wrote
you know what I mean, like dissecting literature and everything like that. So he was dissecting Bret Easton Ellis's novels and things like that, and trying to explain those.
No, I think he went too much
those things, but it's definitely
my question for Emerald City was I've seen a couple renditions and iterations of the Wizard of Oz world, etc. But like, how much source material do you think they have to work with? Because I just think the story is so little.
It's
like
so
I think the story's tight, man. So I don't know how many seasons this thing is gonna last.
Well,
I don't want it to be like
we're familiar with the standard Wizard of Oz story, which is Dorothy lands in Oz. Yeah. She, there's
like
Yellow Brick Road.
Like 3 books total, right?
No, there's like 13 books. I think
there's
way more than 3.
The Adventures in Oz.
There's a shitload, but like, does yours qualify? It doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
A lot of it is interesting stuff, mostly for enthusiasts. The story runs deep, but you have to be into the story. If you're not really like digging it,
it's like. But if you didn't dig any deeper and you're not like providing anything new, you know what I mean? Then what is already out there? Then what's the point?
Well, this actually had the promise of providing a lot of new stuff. I like the way they did the Yellow Brick Road. It's not a Yellow Brick Road. It's just a long string of poppy plants.
Also, not to cut you off, the setting. What's the setting in this? Is this like a dystopian future-ish? Or is this like the Wizard of Oz setting?
It's in Oz, this world that's kind of like a hodgepodge of different environments. Like I said, the Yellow Brick Road is. It's not quite jungle, not quite woods. It's more like an endless stream connection of grassland that connects these different parties. But where like Munchkin live, that's not like this little Willy Wonka looking like town. Yeah. That's a village in the woods where she landed. They live not prehistorically, but like medievally.
Okay.
And then once they leave there, like you see where the wizard lives. The wizard lives in this huge freaking palace. You see where the witches occupy. They're I guess they're fiefdoms. And they have castles, they have lavish houses. So it's like all this doesn't tie into one specific type of environment. And I like what they're doing with the Scarecrow. I'm not sure if this is definitive because they may want to introduce more characters down the line, but it seemed like he was
but that's one story. He's taken many different stories too, and like
absolutely, but
bending them to his own.
I'm hoping they use the breadth of the Wizard of Oz universe and really incorporate some of the outside stories. They don't just stick to the main one. They'll probably have to get
so
Dorothy
far,
too.
is it just like the Dorothy story arc?
So far, it's just the Dorothy story arc. That's one of my beefs with it. I mean, I understand that's what they need to do, like right off the bat.
Yeah, to catch
get
the
people in.
audience. Yeah.
But be interesting with it. You've got like so many good points. It's like being given all this good stuff and then having it written by the retarded kid in the back of the class.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know it's not easy to say, but that's what I'm getting here.
Well, that's how it goes. Yeah.
The Scarecrow being a conglomeration of all three characters, that's dope. And there's reason for it. Like, it starts off, he's like a hurt soldier. That's why he's all wobbly, to begin with. You know, she finds him when he's crucified. That's like some Caesar's Legion from Fallout stuff.
That's hardcore.
Yeah. And then she finds he's got a past and this ill ass sword.
Anybody we know who's playing the Scarecrow? These like familiar actors.
There's a couple of familiar faces, but no names that I recall offhand. Yeah. Which kind of bugged me because I'm like, I know that person from this show.
I like that though because some of those guys might have like a breakthrough role. I love TV actors, man. Some of those guys put in a lot of hard work and underappreciated a lot.
Well, if this does pick up, it will be some stuff. I'm hoping they expand the mythos and really take advantage of it.
Yeah, nobody's really done that. Like if you think about the couple iterations we were talking about, no one's gone into like the missing Princess Ozma or the other books behind it. But I've got a question before we leave this for you guys.
Yeah.
There are so many different iterations, and you were saying that you'd seen. What are you guys' favorite iterations of Wizard of Oz? Because mine's The Wiz.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just when the Tin Man was crying on him. And trying to get the tears on him and bring him back to life. I was kind of turned off.
You can't go wrong with Nipsey Russell, man. I'm just
right. I don't know.
I'm a fan of the classic only because my son loves the classic. He watches with his grandmother, and the classic was just something.
It's good. Don't mess
up.
with
Those
the
are
original
times.
sometimes. You know what I mean? It is great. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, shout out to the guy who committed suicide in the background on the classic.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a myth.
It
that
was debunked,
like a bag of
but
flour.
it
What are you
looks
trying to do
just
with
like
Johnny?
he's about trying to do it. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
if that's the case, shout out to Pink Floyd.
All right.
Shout out to good music, man. Yeah.
Herb, we're not leaving you out. Man. You got a favorite version?
The Futurama episode.
Yes!
Nice.
Oh. Not bad.
Her, my man, right there. Absolutely.
All right.
Futurama episode.
A child of the
Good
80s
drop.
and 90s. There was a Saturday morning cartoon show that went beyond the story and basically was if Dorothy had the shoes and the ability to travel back and forth, I guess Lydia and Beetlejuice style, to go back to Oz whenever she wanted. And she just went there and continued on having adventures. And some of them were taken from the
I kind
books.
of remember that actually.
It was dope, man. Like my favorite episode was the one where the lion lost his roar.
Yeah.
They had to go to this like dark ass forest.
I remember this.
What was the?
It was good. They had to go to this dark ass forest
It was
where
like
he had to
NBC,
shout in different caves. I believe so. Yeah, when they still ran cartoons.
Yeah,
and he's
for
shouting
Saturday
into
morning.
these caves, and he'd be like, he lost his roar, so he's like,
Yeah. What was
And
the
they would shout
Futurama one
back.
though? That shit was dope. Though.
yeah. All he had to do
Yeah.
was like inhale as like the cave roared back at him and trying different ones, and it's just like. And it would come back like a train horn. Like, no, not that one. You know, it was
Oh yeah. I think you're
okay,
right.
but that's me. All right. I don't think we'll have time to get to Jackie, but Adam, you want to save that for next week? Bust it out.
I got it, man. Yeah.
All right, solid. We are going to lay into Arisia. This is a sci-fi convention that comes to the Boston area every year. Frequented by a lot of people. This was actually my first time.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Snap.
crazy.
Arisia version, man. They win no lubrication.
They should have
So
given
we've
them
got
special
in-house
ribbon.
a couple of.
You
They do
get a
that, they
special. You get like usually they give them to babies because.
Okay, no, I'm not getting the
still
baby
ha- I
ribbon.
still
I'm
have
trying to do
mine.
it in here.
There were plenty of adults who had them. It's like a little pink or purple ribbon that says "My First Arisia."
I still have mine. I did my first one was last year.
I
And
say
this is
that
my
because
second
I
one.
didn't get one. This was like my third or fourth Arisia.
Oh, you're a vet.
I wouldn't say that.
All right.
There's
All
no
right,
way to
well,
be a vet.
More of a vet than some of us in this room.
I've been in the trenches.
Okay, so for those of us that are still like plebeian and uninformed, can you let us know? Give us the actual breakdown of what Arisia is.
So a lot of other conventions are about waiting in line to meet famous people.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are a couple of like bigger names, like they get a couple artists every year, but it's not like
Lou Ferrigno.
you're not gonna find John Barrowman or like
You're not.
probably
I
not.
was hoping you'd sign my taint.
I
Captain
feel like
Jack,
the
you
biggest
beautiful
part
man.
of Arisia to a lot of people is the community behind it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the panels are about community building. and more about the fandom and the fans and getting people to interact. There's a lot of cool panels for different things. Some of them are fan specific. Some of them are just about building costumes. Or my favorite panel is a Rachel Kinley panel. It's positive representations of female sexuality in comic books. Nice. That is the name of the panel.
Wait, of female sexuality, not just of females.
Of female sexuality in comic books, and it's
led
by.
At least one example. Come on, if you can recall any.
Well, most of it was we were crapping on. It was a whole bunch of geeky feminists crapping on things. We pooped on the party.
Yeah. All right. Just scary. Telling it like it is.
Yep. Oh, sure.
Beyond that too, there was this is my second one, and I really enjoyed it. I brought my son with me. You met him, and I just wanted him to experience something that was more fan oriented as opposed to the ones that I've started taking him to cons last year, and then we Comic-Con, those are commercial. You just literally had to spend.
That's what the people want, yeah.
And see your fans.
Sponsored by Red Bull is a bad.
Exactly. But he enjoyed. For him, it wasn't his speed quite much. But again, I enjoyed the fan community. Like my second time going to this, I realized it was really about the fans and the fandom of everything.
Yes.
Some of the panels were very. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, not to cut you off, but also want to point out. You said that you brought your son.
Yeah.
Arisia is one of the conventions that really pushes that it's open to all ages and family oriented.
And actually, for those that don't know, mine was a kid in tow. So basically, kids are free as long as they don't go anywhere outside of you.
Sometimes it's important to realize, sometimes you're not the number one fan. You're not the key demographic.
It's a family.
You know what I mean?
It's a family.
And
I think
sometimes you can sit on the outside of it.
I just wanted to point out what she said. Like she was really accurate about the panel just being like about almost anything that is fan oriented.
Yeah.
Like I went to one that was very interesting. Met JM there, and it was about harassment at cons or just the whole situation. And it went from they addressed. I came in halfway through, but James was telling me they addressed various aspects of just harassment, like racial, sexual, even handicap, disabled people being harassed at cons, and just the process that they're taking to address the situations and
stuff you don't even understand at the time. And you're like, wow, probably that exists. Absolutely.
And this con is incredibly diverse. Like one of my favorite cosplays that I saw all weekend is I was sitting in the game room playing a group game with a bunch of children 10 years younger than me, which was strange. But my favorite cosplay was this maybe like 9-10-year-old kid who was a gender bent black Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad.
Nice.
His was the best Harley Quinn costume I saw. He even had the gold cuffs. He was perfect. He was the best Harley Quinn besides baby Harley Bean, who's probably listening. So I'm gonna,
No kowtow.
I love Harley.
But he was rocking it. Yeah. So,
and
right on.
There's like a lot of people who are mobility handicapped, and they actually make it so that if you're in the masquerade, the costume contest, there's ramps backstage if you're an event performer who's mobility disabled.
Up in their game for sure. Okay.
So it's incredibly diverse, and it's not about the person sitting at the table that you're paying $20 to take a selfie with.
Yeah,
it's about you.
Right. And just to reiterate too, it's super like it's super family oriented. Like there's these panels that are like serious, like I told you, the harassment ones. Yeah. Then there's the one that I enjoyed the most, the 2016 TV show year in review. They just addressed some of the best TV shows that were out. Why?
Right.
And the discussion ended up being, it was just a great discussion about how who's producing better quality material.
Right. And did you think it was going to go there? Did you think that that's where the conversation was leading?
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be, some 4 or 5 people who just pontificate about how smart they are and how critical they are about everything. But
like, look what I made.
Back when I was watching Nova,
but it was really good because it was informative.
But then you got Donald Glover talking about like Atlanta or something. You know what I mean? Like, holy crap! You know what I mean? Like,
if you haven't seen Atlanta, watch Atlanta.
It's the greatest show on TV. Like,
excuse me, Rick and Morty. Thank you.
Okay, you might not be wrong, but you might not be wrong.
Just on top of that, like there's those serious panels, and there's panels for everything, GOT famous stuff. But then they also have the stuff for the kids, like like an entire day. My son wanted to do the Mario Kart Wii U tournament.
Of course he did,
and it was. I mean, obviously,
but that was the family lightsaber battle.
Oh my god, I missed that shit.
Lightsaber combat training.
So you're saying there's things that you could bond with your things you could bond with your children over.
Yeah, they would teach your kid how to beat the crap out of you.
We met Pat, and then Pat apparently got my kid into scimitars, and
I didn't get him into.
What'd you do?
Okay.
What'd you do?
Pat comes in,
nothing. I come in
people with this plastic
my
scimitar.
my costume was bad. First of all, polyurethane, my brother. I paid money for that sucker. All right, I came in my costume. I had a gun harness on.
Bro.
I had my my knit night helmet. You all seen that before?
Chainmail tie, which is pretty cool.
And my chainmail necktie.
Whack ass,
pretty
cool.
You know, I was an off night.
That was pretty cool.
You did look pretty slick.
Thank you.
I actually got an award
Pat, I
for
love
one
you,
of
bro.
my costumes.
No one gets the pun. What's up?
I got an award for one of my costumes.
Okay, fine. Go
That's
ahead.
never
Story
happened to
top
me
of y'all.
before.
For Arisia?
Yeah, I didn't
Congratulations.
enter anything because I never. I'm an event performer.
Yeah.
And my first Arisia, I was there for press. I was there for Geek Beat Radio. So I don't.
Those suckers.
Yeah.
I know, right now.
Jacked.
I don't have time
friends of
to
the show,
enter
they
the masquerade or anything. I was supposed to cover the masquerade, which I watched from a hotel room with a beer in my hand.
Hey, that works.
But I was
do it
in the
technically.
pool, which is my favorite part of Arisia. They actually do. There's a panel in the pool. There's a sea shanty sing-along that I accidentally
That's
ended
awesome.
up at.
You can play Super Duper Party Pooper in the pool.
Yeah,
You may
of
not
course.
want to.
Geek Beat Radio.
Please
Screw
don't.
them.
I love that pool. But
Yeah.
my favorite part is the pool because I know Pat knows, but you guys might not know this. Is I'm a mermaid. I'm a merdork.
I've seen it.
So I was mermaiding in the pool in a costume that's like sort of made and sort of bought.
Trying to picture.
And
Sorry.
someone was like,
Good picture.
you're cosplaying in the pool. You're
It's coming.
waterproof. That's not gonna fall apart."
Yep, it's
And I got a ribbon.
the image is
I'm
happening.
gonna go ahead and give you kudos.
All right.
Yeah.
No, it's there right now.
All right. Well, also, we're talking about a lot of good stuff. There were a lot of problems at this year's Arisia too that like people have been addressing, and I think one thing that people are really starting to call attention to is Arisia's been going on for a long time. There's a lot of regulars that have gotten used to it operating a certain way, and they've been making changes over the last few years. A lot of conventions have,
A lot of
but in the
turnover.
and
and stuff.
in the cases of like New York Comic Con, you know, a lot of the outside
What are you
ones,
talking about?
Connecticut, Katsucon, all those, they were bought out by different companies, and the management changed. In Arisia, I think it's just more of a generational shift. So you start getting people that do things different ways because it's not the same folks that were doing it 20 years ago. And that's caused a lot of turmoil. A lot of the complaints that I've been hearing right now, most recently, is it the Watchdogs, the Watchers, the Watch?
The Watch.
Just the Watch?
It's like the Night's Watch, but without the night. It's just the Watch.
The Watch. Okay, these are the security volunteers who basically make sure no one pulls any fast ones and shenanigans and hijinks that aren't on the up and up at the convention. And there was a lot of people that felt they were being harassed by them more than necessary. They were being called out and taken from places, and a lot of stories were legit. I'm not saying that it was all completely like, oh, there are people overreacting and stuff. There was a little bit of that. I remember one very passionate tirade by a guy who was complaining because his costume, which did seem harmless, they asked him to rein it in because it did take up a certain amount of room, like personal space, wherever he went. And they asked him if he could either take it down a bit or just
See that
you know,
that
maybe
goes
take
against
it
what
off.
Tuck
that's
it in.
about, though. Like
It does, but
Kinda,
I understand
respect
like you have
the
to.
argument.
To a point.
Well,
To a
there
point,
are
right?
people that do like beautiful work. Like I remember girls who did costumes where they had like pneumatic wings,
Yeah, yeah.
and the wingspan was about 15 feet.
Yeah.
But they also had it built so that they could compress that down.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
fold the wings in, and they can walk around. So when it's time to take pictures and stuff, bam, you hit those switches to pull those cords, and the wings spread out.
Yeah.
This was a guy whose costume couldn't compress itself. It wasn't that huge.
Yeah.
I got to look
So
at it.
basically, he's being an inconsiderate douchebag.
No, not even. But basically,
Kinda,
people were reacting that way. So it's like a lot of flared tempers, and I'm just like, this. Both sides of the situation seems to be generational.
Yeah.
It's the older folks who are there and used to
Well,
a lot more freedom in what you can actually do.
It's
and,
hard to be
rather
middle
than let you
ground
be-
nowadays. You know what I mean? You're either
But-
over the line or you're.
It is, and it's
But I think-
unfortunate because that's
But isn't
it's
it about
giving it,
it's growing though, and I think it
Oh, yeah.
I think they had like 5% more visitors this year than they did
Yeah,
previous
right.
year. So
it's always going to
and eventually they're gonna, outgrow the West End.
Well, what I've seen
maybe
there
they're gonna have to
is
change
one of
venues.
my reasons for, like I said, this is my first Arisia. I've been invited before
Yeah.
by people, not by the place. But one of my main hindrances was, conventions are. I go to things because I'm a fan. I just like the environment, and it's a sense of camaraderie. I'm there with people that I could be friends with if I actually knew them from whatever
Yeah,
walks
yeah.
of life we came from. And Arisia's been always been the one that seemed really pretentious to me because the people I knew that go there are always really into stuff and they take things just a little too seriously. And this is basically their club to go and hang out with their friends who are on the same wavelength. And I'm like, you know what? I like to enjoy things, and anyone who takes anything that deep, that serious, that like hardcore about every aspect of it might be a little out of my wheelhouse. And I'm like, I finally got peer pressure into going, and I'm like, maybe it'll be different. And I did see a lot of stuff that really felt welcoming, but I did see a certain amount of that which came out in the approach of not abuse, but the heavy-handedness of some of the watch. They were pulling people out of the lobby. We got a few looks when I actually got a tarot reading, which was freaking cool. But we did it in the lobby, and I got a couple of cats. There were a couple of cats who came up and kind of hung around a bit. They were watching, and you could tell they wanted to say something.
To you?
What was your tarot card?
What were you doing? Too many dreadlocks or something?
No. I'm sorry, sir. You're too black for this lobby.
You look too black.
Our very own Amy Macabre told was approached about holding a quote-unquote unofficial panel.
Oh, they were drinking and telling like Norse mythology stories in a bar, which is, I don't know if you know, that's something they know a lot about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they were getting too much attention, which is like,
you're getting too much attention. People like you too much, so we got an issue with that.
I gotta say, I know that one of the reasons, I know some of the watch, and I know that at least the ones I know, I hope are cool.
Mm-hmm.
I know some of them, and I got to talk to them about the increased presence this year was a big part of Arisia for those of us who don't have kids. Sorry, is the parties. Especially if you're staying in the hotel, like Barfleet has a huge presence there.
Really? Yeah.
And they're welcoming to people who are not Trekkies.
That's a Star Trek themed bar night that they throw on.
And they do pub crawl.
Really?
It's not just at Arisia. Barfleet goes from like convention to convention. It's supposed to be like the dork party that doesn't stop. And there's a lot of registered parties that are really cool.
Oh shit.
And there's a lot of parties that are unregistered that are kind of like Steven Universe raves or like theme. I've been to some really cool ones where they've set up like the inside of the TARDIS in a hotel room and served like sonic screwdrivers and stuff like that. But there are a lot of people who when you go down to a panel at 7 or 8 in the morning and there's a guy still sleeping in the elevator or trying to people go pretty hard. And a lot of these people do they get kind of cliquey and they go to see their friends, and this is an environment where they can wear those costumes and know that there was people who take it seriously, so they really let loose.
Yeah.
But they don't really do this any other time except for
it's hard to let loose and then like pull it back at the same time.
Just to be clear, this is like just to be like super clear about it. It's a fantasy console. This is more like I don't know, medieval oriented stuff. Dragons as opposed to like I didn't see too many Trekkies. I didn't see too many
there were so many Jedi. And
the Jedi stuff. Star Wars is huge this year.
As a Sith Lord, I'm incredibly offended. I gotta say, rebel scum.
All right. Well, what it comes down to is I enjoyed the panels. My favorite part of the show was the art show that I went to. I saw some badass stuff. I got a bunch of cards. Saw some cool panels. There was a room where people were contra dancing in cosplay.
Nice.
That was kind of wild. A friend of mine was doing a sword fighting demonstration. You could actually have actual sword fighting lessons right after the panel. So things like that happen. Just give final impressions about Arisia.
Yeah, listen, man. If you're into fantasy stuff, Lord of the Rings, etc., type of situations, pretty much anything that you can create a fandom based on, and go and enjoy yourself and bring your kids. It's a family situation, and I don't think you should be, like Black Adam was saying, bro, like don't be a douchebag about your fandom. Just share the love and bring your kids and enjoy the environment, man. It's 3 days, and you don't have to pay for your kids to get in, which is even better, man. It's like one adult, or you bring your wife, 2 adult tickets, and then you bring your kids in tow. Just make sure they don't go around disappearing on you, and you're good. You know what I mean? I give it a thumbs up.
You set the example early too. You know what I mean? This is what fandom is. Own it. You know what I mean? Enjoy it. You know what I mean?
I'd say
you won't learn all these warriors, or you're gonna get beat.
Yes.
If you're a geek about anything, it's a pretty cool place to be. They have something for literally everyone.
Yeah.
And
there's a reason you're bringing
them
too. You know what I mean?
People who like you. I have a good friend who goes and they have serious ADHD. They cannot sit still for a panel. And they go for the techno contra dancing and the geeky belly dance show and the game rooms, because there's 2 24-hour or one 24-hour game room.
Well, it's either you own it or you don't. You know what I mean?
12-hour game room or something.
It's like you present it to your kids, they either accept it or they don't. You know what I mean? You have to acknowledge the fact that your kids are gonna like take it in or they're gonna reject it. You know what I mean? That's all you could do as a parent too, I think, at some point. And if you're really gonna put yourself on the line and present yourself with like, hey, this is what I'm really geeky about. Hope you kids like it. You know what I mean?
By the way, son,
that's
I am
all
a
you
Jedi
can exactly
in real life.
Son,
so they can either take it or they can throw it back in your face.
This Maquis business.
I gotta say, I love the family cosplays.
Yes,
yeah,
a dog included.
But you know what? If your kid really loves you, he's gonna fake it anyway.
I think
so
my favorite,
it really is true.
Quick
You know
shout
what I
out
mean?
to the lady who had the all-white German huge dog. It was like a German Shepherd mixed with something else. It's huge, but it had the it had the bear armor from the Golden Compass movie.
That dog had more cosplays than I had with me.
That's
because
awesome.
it was also, I think, like the horse from Tangled.
Nice.
With the little like iguana pet on the saddle, and we were talking to her, my partner and I, and she's like, "Yeah, next year we might go Appa from Avatar: The Last Airbender."
Nice.
And he's also gonna go as that dude from Tango and Cash. That was I was like, really, Kurt Russell's character? Yeah.
You're gonna fatten that dog way up. All right.
Oh,
my
so
final
good.
impressions on Arisia. I
go.
had a decent time when I was with people. When I was kind of roaming by myself, I noticed a lot of the things that I was kind of, stiff-arming. But the reason I was stiff-arming the convention in the first place. So it's just like, I think it's more about camaraderie. If you go with friends, you'll have a decent time.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll go again, but I can definitely see the merits, and I can definitely recommend it if anyone was hardcore into it.
Yeah.
You might find something you love. Go with a couple of friends. Maybe just buy a day pass to try it out for yourself, and I think you'll have a decent time.
Don't go with Pat though. He'll have your kid buying.
Man, the hell with Pat, bro.
Okay. Let's put that to rest right now. Okay, I mentioned what my costume was, and with that, I had my practice scimitar. It's a proper scimitar. This thing's actual proportion, and it's dope. All right. He grabbed this thing from me. He's like, "Yo, this machete's badass, man. You know what? I think I have enough money to buy this from you. How much you want for it?" Like, what?
Yeah, he did offer. Yeah, in retrospect, he did offer to buy it off you.
Yeah, what kind of mess is that? Although he did offer me about $200 for a $30 sword, so maybe I should have taken him up on it. I'm like, nah, your pops will have my ass on a sling. Let me not do that.
Yeah, when it's time for him to buy his car,
I didn't beg you to come to Arisia with
yeah.
me, but you didn't even come to my show at Arisia. So.
Hey, I saw you for 14 seconds. You were like, "Hey, Pat, good to see you. I got places to be. Peace, mama."
Yo, P, what up?
Yeah.
I was in a show with Amy, and then I did makeup for 3 other shows.
All right. Well, next time we'll make it happen.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. This has been the Geek Down here on WEMF Radio. I want to thank you all for joining me for another action-packed, fun-filled episode. I want to remind you also that TerraCon is coming up next month on the weekend of February 24th or 25th, I believe, and we will be in attendance. Check out TerraCon and look for Geek Down with our own booth. We'll have actually surprises, man, because I haven't gotten the damn thing fully set up yet. But I'm looking to do some reviews. I'm looking to do some on-floor commentary, and also we're working with the BitFest guys who just
that
put
might
out
be
a little
dope.
bit spoiler. Yeah, we're talking about doing new shows on the Twitch channel. If you're watching on Twitch, it was twitch.tv/thegeekdown, and you got to see all our pretty faces, give you all this good stuff. Well, you can see us in person at TerraCon. That's the weekend of February 25th. Come check us out. That is in Providence, Rhode Island, at the at the center right there. And
Rhode Island Convention Center.
Thank you, the Rhode Island Convention Center. All right. And rest in peace to Superfly Jimmy Snuka. I want to thank my homeboy Black Adam Willis, my man.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank Dirty D.
Anytime. He's blacker than me, damn it.
I want to thank Jess Scary.
Thank you.
You're welcome back.
Your
anytime.
tattoo's
Hopefully
awesome,
you'll
by the
join
way.
us.
Is that from Lord of the Rings?
It is from Lord of the Rings. Good eye, dude.
Yeah.
I want to thank just Johnny.
Yep.
You want to show the camera?
Oh.
Not you. Oh, wait, we're not. Slow down. Okay, well, Herbie Herb, we'll say goodbye to you next time, my man. Woo. All right.
Woo.
And remind you all, join us next Monday night, 9 p.m. on WEMFradio.com. Hit us up on social networking, on a social network. Jeez, really? Okay, if you heard anything you want to chime in on, email us at geekdownradio@gmail.com. Check us out on SoundCloud, Geek-Down. Check us out on YouTube, Geek-Down. Hit us, search for us on iTunes. We're the first one to pop up. Search Geek Down. And until next week, you all be excellent to each other. Peace.
Peace. You're the elusive man.
WEMF, WEMFradio.com.